Welcome back to the Neighbors Podcast. I'm your host, Allie Parsons, and today's guest is my very own pastor, Pastor Joby Martin. And he is coming out with his fourth book. It's called Stand Firm and Act Like Men, and that's what we're talking about, biblical manhood. But if you're not a man, don't check out yet, because this episode is still for you. No matter who you are, we all know men in our lives, whether we're married to them, we're raising them, we're friends with them, we have brothers, dads, all the things. And this episode, this conversation, we talk about how we've lost the rites of passage from boyhood to manhood and how we can regain some of that back. And then we talk a lot about the sense of adventure that lives in every man and how the women in their lives can be voices of life to that sense of adventure and what we can do as women and as men to make space for all of us to flourish. It's just a really fun conversation. Anytime Pastor Joby is on the podcast, it feels like a family member joining us. He's a huge reason that the Neighbors Podcast even exists. And so anytime he comes to our studio, sits in our green chairs, it's a really special conversation and means so much to me personally. I know you're going to get so much out of this conversation, and I hope you buy this book, not only for yourself to read, but buy it for the men in your life to be able to get just a condensed version, this book of truth that's unpacking what the Bible says about what it truly means to be a man in a world that is throwing so many things at our men, so many lies. And this book is just going to break down those, weave through all of them, and hold on to that truth of who God says that our men are. So before we get into my conversation with Pastor Joby, we want to thank our sponsors for making this episode possible. This episode is brought to you by Tutoring Club of Jacksonville. Hey, moms and dads, is your child ready to start the school year with confidence? At Tutoring Club of Jacksonville, we create personalized learning plans tailored to your child's unique needs. Our expert tutors are here to help with math, reading, writing, and more for all ages and abilities. Mention the Neighbors Podcast and get 50% off your child's assessment fee. With locations in Mandarin and Hodges Boulevard, we're here to support your family. Visit tutoringclub.com/JacksonvilleFL or call us today. This episode is also brought to you by Clark Spray Foam. Looking to upgrade your home or business with insulation that actually performs? Clark Spray Foam is Jacksonville's trusted name in high-performance spray foam insulation, giving you year-round comfort, lower energy bills, and a quieter space. Clark Spray Foam is a family-owned, 5-star rated, and focused on comfort, efficiency, and quality, offering a variety of insulation solutions. And just for our Neighbors Podcast listeners, mention this ad and get $500 off your next project. Give them a call. They foam it all. Visit clarksprayfoam.com today. This episode is also sponsored by Lay Construction. Lay Construction is a full-service general contractor specializing in commercial interiors. Whether your project is office, retail, hospitality, faith-based, or industrial, Lay Construction services all market types. The company is Jacksonville-based and dedicated to serving Northeast Florida by delivering the highest quality work in the industry. For any of your construction needs, Lay Construction is your team. Check out some of their completed projects on Instagram at lay_construction or online at lay-construction.com. And finally, this episode is also brought to you by Bozard Ford. Bozard Ford Lincoln is a third-generation family-owned car dealership just off I-95 in St. Augustine. Their team wants to come alongside you for all your transportation needs, making sure all transactions are transparent, quick, and fun. Check them out at bozardford.com or bozardlincoln.com or stop by and see them next time you're shopping for a new car. So thank you to all of our sponsors for making this episode possible. And here is my conversation with Pastor Joby Martin. All right, Pastor Joby, welcome back to the Neighbors Podcast.
Not as good this time because Reagan's not with me.
Yes, last time you were on, your daughter Reagan joined you, and it was such a sweet conversation. This one's going to be really different than that conversation, I think. But I'm so honored that you're here. I said this last time, but you're a huge reason that this podcast even exists. And the only reason I even got into podcasting was originally because you asked me to host your podcast at our church, the Deepen Podcast. And I love doing it. And you and Charles Martin really pushed me when I felt like maybe God's calling me to start my own podcast. Y'all really spoke a lot of life into that. And so you're kind of like the founding fathers of the Neighbors Podcast.
Well, you're very talented, Allie, and I'm super proud of you.
Well, thanks. But this isn't about me. This is about you today. It's about men. And I love a man named Wes over there behind the camera. And
I hear Wes is a really good golfer.
he is a good golfer. Honestly, you know what? He's that guy
He can do it all.
Yes.
I can see that.
We went on a mission trip, our first mission trip together after we got married. And I was a soccer player growing up. And he kept saying, like, soccer's not my sport, soccer's not my sport. And then, soccer is the number one universal sport. So a lot of countries play it. So we went out to play soccer, and he's unbelievable. I'm like, you're so annoying that you just said soccer is not your sport. And I dedicated 20 years to this sport, and you absolutely could crush me in 1 second. So, yeah. But he does. Golf is his sport of choice, and he's very good. So I hear.
I've heard, yeah.
I've never witnessed it because
I've heard from Pastor Britt.
Golf.
And he doesn't give compliments out, especially about golf.
That is true.
Because he loves it so much.
Pastor Britt does love
golf. So if people are better than him, I think it hurts his feelings a little bit to admit it. So
that's funny. Yeah, so you're coming out with this book. But when this episode releases in just a couple weeks, it'll be right around the launch. And this is your fourth book in 4 years, which is wild. Before we started recording, we talked about how you operate off of 4 to 5 hours of sleep. Mm-hmm. That, my friends, is how you accomplish 4 books in 4 years while pastoring a church.
I just have a lot to do. So
okay, but you have a lot to do, but it's voluntary too. Like, you woke up to hunt this morning.
Yeah, but you got to hunt. How are you going to eat?
How are you going to eat? Some of us go to the grocery store for meat. Actually, that's not true. Now I buy meat from a farmer.
See? Well, I just get mine. I was farm to table before it was cool.
That's true. That really is impressive. And that's one thing about hunting. I do wish I liked hunting because I really like that, like, you're just taking out all the middle people to get your meat.
And I've been so busy lately, I mean, we had Saturated and we had a church leader summit, and I've just been so busy. I need to go sit in the woods and not be interrupted and spend time with the Lord and watch the world wake up and watch a cardinal fly by and a raccoon walk down the road.
Now, I don't like raccoons. Do you ever shoot raccoons?
Mm-hmm. All the time.
I really don't like raccoons.
Yeah. If they were 50 pounds, they'd rule the world. They're mean.
Yeah. They're scary. Now, do you literally you don't buy any meat? Like, you do it, you kill it all yourself?
Gretchen, we buy bacon because it's hard to process.
Okay.
So we buy bacon, and Gretchen will get a little bit of chicken.
Okay. Because you're not killing many chickens.
No,
ever.
No. I want to put chickens at the retreat center.
I was going to say, I'm actually surprised that you don't have chickens.
Yeah. Well, I am in a constant battle with my HOA, so the last thing I need is chickens.
Yeah, I don't know if your neighborhood is really like the chicken coop type.
What's funny is, how much I rail on the HOA, and the guy that used to be in charge of it is an 1122er.
And he's like, seriously.
Well, he's like, I got in to try to make a difference. I was like, well, you're not, because it sucks.
It's bigger than you, my friend.
Communism.
It is bigger than you.
Hyper-localized communism. That's what it is.
Okay, so Stand Firm and Act Like Men. This is your book coming out. And I've read the book. Now I've kind of read it twice almost.
I feel like you know it better than I do.
Yeah. Do you actually want to ask me questions about Stand Firm and Act Like Men?
I really do. I do think this should be like a half and half.
Great.
Because I think your audience is a lot of women, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think so. I think it would be very helpful for women raising somebody they want to be a man, or somebody that loves a man, like you said, especially wives, can get a little bit of an inside look, because I think one of the biggest thing that men are lacking is actual encouragement from the women in their life. Very few men are drunk on compliments. They are starving for encouragement. And encouragement on the lips of a wife is gold in the heart of a husband. And you have no idea. And it just doesn't happen very much.
And do you feel like a lot of men are probably even unaware of that? Like, they probably couldn't put language to being starved for encouragement?
It's just not equal. Like, I'm probably the most encouraged human that I've ever met in my whole life by people that I don't really know that well. You know? And so I stand in the lobby and pray with people and sign books and do all of that. And most people are there to say, way to go. God used you to change my life. And it's great. Praise God for that.
Yeah.
And one good job from Gretchen outweighs all of that. And it's not even close. I mean, it's not even close.
Yeah.
Or even from my kids, like some people that are like way on the inside, you know?
Yeah.
It's just not even close.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, well, before we get too deep into biblical manhood, you know, I mean, look at you. You're a man's man. Everybody knows this, that knows you. You're seriously like one of the manliest people, like just in sheer interests, like just the things you like. Like you did that series on Right Now Media.
Mm-hmm.
Like every scene is just the classic manhood. It's like you're on a horse, you're like out by the water, like
I was on
fishing.
an oil rig, yeah.
Yeah, you're oil rig, yeah. just all the man things,
Sure.
and that's true to who you are. Like you're not an imposter in those things. Okay, so the people need to know, what's the least manly thing about you? Like, do you like pumpkin spice lattes?
No, I do not.
Do you like to like go shopping or something?
I don't shop. I just get. Like,
Right.
I don't just go looking for things. Gretchen makes fun because she's like, you are a huge shopper. I'm like, no, I'm not. I don't just randomly walk around to see if something piques my interest.
You're not perusing.
No. There are certain stores that have what I need, and then I just go get it.
Okay.
It's more like a scavenger hunt.
Okay.
Now, I like to buy me stuff. Like, I just went to Fort Worth, Texas to get a cowboy hat.
The one you're wearing?
No, this one's a cheap one that I just wear at the retreat center.
Oh.
It's got like pig guts on it.
We couldn't. The Fort Worth hat is not gracing the neighbors podcast.
Well, I just had this one because I just came from the deer stand. So, yeah, no, I got like a really good one. The company's called America. So, anyway.
Obviously.
So, like, I go into the place, I get a black one, a silver belly, which is like just a light color, and a straw. But it doesn't take me long. It's not like I'm like trying them all on and be like, is this one in? Yeah, I just like that one, let's go. Or, there's one store at the mall that I go to that has preaching shirts.
Anthropology.
Yeah, I don't even know what that is. I've never been inside there.
It's actually just all women's wear.
Is it? I can't. Some of the times when I go with Reagan, I do take her to the mall sometimes.
Yeah.
We'll do like a little date. And I take her to dinner and take her shopping. And I just buy her what she wants because I want any boy that asks her out, I want her to think that wasn't as good as my experience with my dad.
Come on.
You know what I mean? That's all I'm trying to do. So anyway, but I walk into the stores at the mall. I can't tell. I walk in. I'm like, hey, Reagan, are there boy clothes in here? Or are these? Those?
It is a little confusing
These are
these
for
days.
boys and girls. Are you serious right now? Okay. Oh my gosh. And then I feel like a creeper, man. I'm just standing there. I'm just this old man just standing there. Like, it's terrible. So anyway, but there's one store, Tacoma. I go to Tacoma.
Oh,
And
yeah.
Almost all the people there now are 1122ers. I've invited them all. They all come.
Love that.
And they'll just walk in and be like, you have this shirt, you don't have this shirt. But I don't like, I just get them. And then if they have one in a color that, like if they got one that fits, I just like, I want this in all the colors.
You have found a way to make even shopping manly.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I just get.
Well, I love it. It's who you are. You are unapologetically you, which honestly helps me and everybody that works with you be unapologetically us.
Yeah. I'm not trying to be a thing, though.
Yeah. Right.
I just do, So, I mean, when I talk about this, and even in the book, as we talk about what a man is, I say, I mean, I like to lift weights, and I fight jujitsu, and I've got knives and guns, more than I have fingers. Got a couple on me right now. I hunt my groceries with a stick and a string. I drive a 4-wheel drive truck. I drive a Harley, all the things. None of that makes me a man.
Yeah.
It makes me awesome, but not a man.
Yeah. And, every week that goes by of this year, I just think, wow, this is a really good message. Like, I mean, literally every week I'm overcome by the timing of this book and the way that you're able to weave through both sides of it. Like people caught up in that side, like those things that they think make you a man, that all those things you just described, and the other side of culture trying to take man out of manhood.
Oof.
And here's this book. And have you experienced that this year of just seeing God's timing in it all of, wow, this book is coming at a really good time?
Yeah, I don't know if you're aware of this or not. But by the time the book is released, you started that thing like 2.5 years ago.
Yeah.
And so at that point in our culture here, I think we were way over in the ditch of anything that smelled like what God intended for men to be was being labeled as toxic masculinity.
That's right.
And I was particularly seeing it through the lens of my son, who's just about to turn 20. So when he's 17, 18, he literally lives in a world that tells him, you're the problem. Like your God-given wants and desires are actually the problem. And so you just need to sit down, be quiet, play a video game, and get out of the way. Think about that, especially if you're a white, heterosexual, 17-year-old male in America in
You're the enemy.
2022. You're the problem.
Yep.
All right. And so that's kind of, I was like, it's time. Let's go. And so, but you've heard me say this 10,000 times. For every mile of road, there's 2 miles of ditch. And the enemy does not care which ditch you wreck your truck in. He just wants you to be wrecked. Mm-hmm. And so over the last, 18 months or so, you've seen this like resurgence of the alpha male. Well, then now I'm going, you're going to go too far and get into like Andrew Tate land.
Yeah.
Which that truly is toxic. I mean, that's trouble. And what we don't want, I talk about it a lot in the book. We're one of the very few cultures in all of human history that doesn't have rites of passage from boys to men. We don't even know what a man is. I was in Kenya, Africa with the Maasai tribe when I was in seminary. This would have been the mid-90s. I was in my early 20s. I was the only one in our seminary group that got invited into the village because I was the only one they perceived as a warrior. Everybody else was too weak. But wow. I don't know if you've ever been to seminary, but it's...
Oh, like everyone in your group?
There was 12 of us. And
of your fellow classmates?
Correct.
Oh, that's funny.
To the women, they were like, you're not allowed. To the men, they're like, you're not worthy. You, sir, come with us.
Oh, that's funny.
Which is funny because I didn't fit in seminary at all,
right.
And
you're like, yes, I finally fit in here.
And the guy asked me, so in your culture, when does a boy become a man? And I was like, I don't know. So the problem is, it takes a man to bestow manhood upon a generation of boys. Well, now we've got boys trying to bestow manhood on a generation of boys. And so when you do that, it's primarily about consumption instead of serving. It's primarily about my rights instead of responsibility. And what I'm afraid of, and I'm afraid we're going to go too far in the pendulum. I mean, life is almost always a series of overcorrections.
Yeah.
And I'm afraid we're going to just swing too far the other way,
Yeah, such the human narrative.
Correct.
We just can't find that middle.
Well, yeah. I mean,
very often.
Yeah. Jesus' way is really narrow.
Yeah, that's
it's
true.
really narrow.
Okay, so as you've been writing this or thinking about it, have you thought of ways we should have rites of passage? Like, is there
for sure
something that like parents of young kids, like what are some of those things that we could do?
Well, there's a million books out there about how to do it now. The problem, in my opinion, is that a lot of dads start way too young and they get really caught up on an event. So they take their 13-year-old son on a camping trip and they give him a sword and they're like, congratulations, you're a man. And then he goes to school the next day and has to have permission to pee. You're not a man yet. So what we did, what I am still trying to do with JP, is between his 8th and 9th grade year, I did an annual trip that had a lot of adventure in it. And because of our hunting background, a lot of it had to do with guns and hunting and, just super adventurous. I included a bunch of other men in his life to either write letters or the men that was on these trips with us to speak life into him. And they just progressively got more adventurous and more advanced.
That's cool.
And then there was also a significant gift. Like, this is going to make some of your people nervous, but when he turned 18, I gave him an AR-10, which is just a bigger caliber AR-15, because that is not something a boy can handle, Took him to South Africa, and we bow hunted. And when he shot his first wildebeest, his first animal was a big old wildebeest, which can kill you. And so he kills the thing, and then the chieftain cuts off the testicles and hangs it around his neck like a necklace and puts blood on his face. This is what you do when you kill your first thing. And then they sing this like manhood song over him, you know? So there's like stuff, but it wasn't that singular event. It was this, and I continue now he's 20, and I continue these kinds of trips. I took him and his granddaddy, my dad, on a fishing trip to Canada this year, and because we're trying to do that intergenerational thing. And so we're just trying to stretch that thing out over time.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest conversations I have with him is like, dude, you got to be grown. You just got you just got to be grown. In fact, maybe the greatest compliment he's ever given me is on that fishing trip with his granddaddy. He, like the little boy, never came out. He was the youngest guy. The next youngest guy was Austin Adamak, you know? So, like, when it came time to build the fire or to set up camp, like, he was just on it, man. He was just working hard, outfished everybody. And he just walks up to me one night after the campfire, and he just said, Daddy, thanks for raising me to be a grown man. And a part of what he was talking about was his college experience where, in his words, he's like, I'm just surrounded by boys, which is part of the reason he didn't go back. So he did 1 year in Tallahassee and was like, that ain't it. Now he actually works with us at church, and he's enrolled in fire school in January because part of him stepping into manhood is to say, first of all, I got to do something with my life. And for him, sitting in the air conditioning, looking at the NASDAQ for the rest of his life ain't it for him. And I think you know the story of him pulling the nurses out of the wrecked car. It's a little chicken and egg there. I'm not sure which one came first, but that was foundational for him. Wow. And so he's going to fire school, you know?
Yeah.
So Charles told me something. We were on some podcasts. We do so many podcasts, I forget them all. And he was talking about raising his boys, and he raised some men. You know, they're awesome. And he said, and I just respect him so much as a husband and as a dad. And he's my buddy, but I just really look up to him as a husband and as a dad. And he just said, my job is not to script out the life of my boys. My job is just to help them hear the good shepherd and just take the next step. And I was like,
it's good parenting advice.
I know. And I was like, I'm so good at scripting out everybody's life, though, you know? I mean, when you were in New York and we chatted, I was like, hey, two things. God loves you, and I have a plan for your life. Allie, if you'll just do what I say, I promise it'll go real good. And the sad thing is, it's actually true. Like, I'm telling you, in your life, we've had this conversation privately several times because you're so gifted and talented. And I've told you, hey, just stick around because God's got a big, bright future for you. But when it comes to your kids, you want so much for them, right? But our job is actually just to help them hear the voice of God and help them make the decision God has for them. So if you would have told me 5 years ago, Gretchen and I would be pumped that my kid just dropped out of college, I'd be like, wait, what? I mean, I've got multiple degrees. We could not be more pleased with where he is with the Lord and his future. And so that rite of passage thing, you got to lean into responsibility. Make sure I would stretch it over time.
Yeah, it's really good.
I would work really hard to make memories with the reason that you give gifts like knives and swords. We've done all these things is so that when they see it, they remember very quickly these memories. And then you've got to have adults that love them, speaking life, like calling them up into the responsibility of manhood.
I want to talk about you focus on the adventurous side when you take these trips. Wes and I have been talking a lot about this lately, kind of going back to like the John Eldridge Wild at Heart stuff.
Yeah.
And it's really fascinating to talk about just like the different wirings between men and women and how men are wired for danger and risk. And we have completely suppressed that as a culture, particularly in America.
Totally.
And like the other day or a couple months ago when we were talking about this, Wes is telling me he wants to do this like 48-hour run through the Grand Canyon. It sounds seriously horrible to me. He doesn't know if he can finish it. It's like this hardcore thing. And there's a couple other guys from our church who they're talking about doing it. And so I just want to talk about that a little bit. Like, what is that, the wiring, and why do we need to raise boys and encourage the men in our life? Like, just as I need to encourage my husband to continue to push into like adventure, risk, danger, that kind of thing?
That's a really good question. So you mentioned John Eldredge, Wild at Heart, shaping book for me for sure.
Yeah.
And one of the key differences, and I agree with his book, 95% of it. One little time he gets a little bit wonky on some theology, but that's all right. Nobody's perfect. And so there's so many good man books out there written by really smart people, way smarter than me, like John Eldredge. And they include sociology and physiology and psychology and all this kind of stuff, history. All right. And he says, deep in the heart of every man, the fundamental question is, do I have what it takes? And we're trying to answer that question. That's why your boy wants to go run the Grand Canyon, because he's just, he needs to challenge himself and answer that question. And he said every man, as an image bearer of God, is given a beauty to rescue, a battle to fight, and an adventure to live, right? Well, the battles we fight, like part of the reason our generation has to make up stuff like this is because we're not going to have to protect our homestead from the grizzly bear trying to invade anymore. Right. All right. Now, while I completely agree with all of John Eldredge's stuff, and if he was here, I just want to say thanks for the book. The difference between this book and his book is stand firm and act like men. All I do is just unpack what the Bible actually says, Mm-hmm. So the reason I think that adventure thing is in every man. I think there's a couple of things. And honestly, a lot of this John Eldredge talks about. One is that we are created to image God, male and female. And when God says in Genesis chapter 2, he uses the word image and likeness. One of those is a masculine word and one is a feminine word. And we, men and women, generally speaking, image God differently. The Bible also says the Lord is a warrior, the Lord is his name. And so anybody that's raised boys and girls, they're just fundamentally different, And the man, Adam, was not created inside of the garden. He was created outside of the garden, and God makes the garden and places him in the garden. Think about that. Like he was created out in the wild. There's something wild in there. And then Eve was created in the garden, and there's something orderly and pretty and beautiful in her. And I think we got to lean into these things. So while I'm doing these adventure things with JP and continue to, Reagan, we just started her like rite of passage stuff. So, but we took her to New York. And so what I'm doing with Reagan on her trips is I want her to see what it looks like for her dad and a man to just really value her because she is valuable.
That's good.
So our trips are very different. Mm-hmm. Like for JP, we were hunting for wildebeest. And for Reagan, we were hunting in Soho for the most ridiculous. I mean, we were just,
Yeah.
But fundamentally, what I'm trying to do is call them into adulthood.
Yeah, like I have a spirit of adventure inside of me, but I don't have any desire to risk. Like if I'm going to go on a hiking trip, I want to know what hikes I'm doing. I want to know how long it's going to take me to complete them. Like I want to map it out. I want to enjoy nature, and I have the sense of adventure. The thing that I've observed in Wes is like he wants to question whether or not he can do it. And it goes back to the fundamental question, do I have what it takes? But like he likes the idea that like he might not finish.
It's also because he's a Christian. In the list of things, the list of people in the book of Revelation that don't go to heaven, coward is on the list. Ever think about that?
Nope.
Coward is on. There's all kind of stuff in there. There's like sorcery and debauchery and orgies, and you're like, oh, okay, that's extreme. coward.
A coward. Wow, that's interesting.
I know. So a part of walking in the footsteps of our saviors, he was not a coward. Now, I don't know how risky you can be when you're sovereign, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he stretched his neck out at great expense to himself. So, like, I'm about to do this hunt. I don't want to go running anywhere. If you see me, I've told you before, if you see me running, call the police, something's going wrong, okay? I don't like to run. I'm too old. I want to be big enough that if you can catch me, I can beat you. And if you're way bigger, then maybe I can get away from you. All right, so.
Perfect.
But I'm about to do this 7-day moose hunt, 8-day moose hunt. Yeah, man. Fly in a helicopter, just drop you off, see you in 7 days.
Wow.
And you could totally die.
Yeah, that's crazy.
There's 2 guys they just found in Colorado that were elk hunting that didn't make it. They searched for them for 6 days, just found their bodies.
Oh, gosh.
Okay, so I hope I don't die. I'm not trying to die. We have the provisions. But yeah, bears eat people. And things can happen. But I just feel like, I don't know, it helps you be fully alive, man. I don't think we were meant to breathe so much air-conditioned air and be inside so much and just see everything in 2 dimensions. So yeah. I got to just get out there and do it.
And, you know, right in line with this, like a relationship with the Lord, it is a great adventure. Like, he is inviting us into an adventure. And I think society has watered that down a bit. Maybe the church has in a lot of ways. But this isn't just like men need to go out in nature to scratch some biological itch. Like, this is part of the great adventure of the Lord, whether you're going on a 7-day moose hunt or you're showing up to work one day. Like, our walk with the Lord is an adventure.
Well, the parting words of the king is therefore go and make disciples, every tribe, tongue, and nation. And then I can imagine somebody's like, but what if it's dangerous? Oh, they're going to hate you.
Yeah.
This world is literally going to hate you and try to kill you. But don't be afraid if they can only kill your body. And you're like, that's what we were most afraid of. It's like, well, you better have a greater fear of the one that controls your eternal destiny. So, I mean, think about this. The church, somehow we've got this thing all jacked up. And God gave us the Great Commission and the Great Commandment, right, to love God and love people. And then to take this good news of the gospel everywhere. And instead of the church being on mission, we have a missions department that's only like for some people, or you don't really have to go, just write a check. And so some of the people can go. You see, the church doesn't have a mission. The mission has a church. And when you get that thing backwards, then that's what happens. You get like fat American Christians that are just lazy. But they've done like 10,000 Bible studies. They just don't do anything about it.
And there's such excitement in waking up every day and saying, Lord, what do you have for me today?
Let's go. What
do you want me to do today? Who do you want me to talk to? There is, like, sometimes I just think we take like the excitement and fun out of our relationship with the Lord. Like, we think it's this prescribed life, but it really is waking up, being open to what it is that day.
Which is one of the reasons men don't go to church. Or don't go to most churches. They go to our church. Mm-hmm. Because we call men to be men.
Yeah.
We don't, I mean, you know, the world says there's no difference. There is a spectrum. Just pick what team you want to be on. There's like 11 teams. You can change teams at any point during the game. You know, who are we to tell you? And then the other extreme would be chauvinism, right? To be like, well, men are better. That's not in the Bible whatsoever. Right. But the church has not helped. The church, historically, in the last 100 years, have not helped men be the men God have called them to be. Most churches have called men to be women. Mm-hmm. They're like, come on, just be nice, be quiet. Everybody sit down. We're going to sing these really girly songs. Got a robe for you. Get in a circle. We're going to talk about our feelings. And dudes are like, I don't.
And I'm out.
That ain't. Because for the longest time, I think men thought you can either be saved or like if you're saved, you're soft. That's it. Yeah. So you can either be like a dude or you got to be like Ned Flanders.
Yeah.
And I'm here to say, no, hold on. Have you read about Jesus? You know, have you read about Paul? Have you read about Peter, the apostles, the martyrs of the faith. Like, we're saved, not soft. Yep. But that strength was not given to us for us. We're not supposed to just be in here and beating our chest and be like, well, you know, I can bench 225. I drive a Dodge Stratus. That's not what we've been called to do. We're to image God and then leverage the strength and authority and adventure that he's given us for the sake of other people, because that's what Christ has done for us.
So I love that. Like, we're saved, not soft, which soft doesn't mean not tender. Because what I love that you talk about in the book, and we've talked before about how your hardest chapter to write and your favorite chapter is the chapter on love.
Jeez.
And
I'm the worst, that's why. But even though, all right, so, you know, I get that I can be that stereotypical. I mean, I really do. I drive a Harley. I got a lot of tattoos. I lift weight, all those things. But, dude, I'm the most, like, weepy, huggy with my family. With JP is a little bit different, but, like, with my girls, man, I mean, are you kidding me? And I am not soft.
Right.
I can beat up most of the humans I've ever come eyeball to eyeball with.
But a lot of men, I think, struggle with being strong and being tender with particularly the women in their life.
Yeah, whoever said that, like, withholding emotion is strength should be punched in the nose. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Jesus Christ is the God-man. I mean, he can call down legions of angels and wipe out culture if he wanted to. And when his friend died and he sees Mary, he just sits down with her and just cries. So it's not either or, man.
Yeah.
You got to be strong enough to be able to cry at the right times with the right people.
Yeah. And so how does vulnerability play into that? Because I think that's an area, you know, men struggle. You say all the time, you can't learn to be free until you learn to be honest.
That's it.
And so how do men who want to do what this book is calling them to do, but maybe they struggle with being vulnerable or who to be vulnerable with. Maybe they've been rejected. You know, that all can come from stuff in their past. But what's your encouragement for them?
Well, I think we might be like overcorrecting here a little bit, you know. I mean, I don't know that vulnerability, like, what's with all these people sitting in their cars doing videos on, I don't understand. Why do I care what you think?
No, we don't.
So you got to be open and honest and real with a group of people that you have invited into that part of your life and deputized to do something about it.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, my disciple group right now is two, like, really high-level specialized law enforcement guy and a Hall of Fame football player, okay? And we're getting pretty real. But the question is, so why? So you don't get vulnerable just for the sake of vulnerability. You get vulnerable, one, because gross things grow in the dark. Two, because you're inviting accountability in your life. And like you just said, I say it all the time, you'll never be free until you learn to be honest. And then the only reason I would do that in a book like this is because I'm trying to make disciples. Mm-hmm. Who cares what I think about anything? But God has called me to this position as lead pastor of our church and author of these books. And so I've got to think about what Paul says in 1 Corinthians 11:1, follow me as I follow Christ. And a couple of things in my teaching and preaching, man, if I just share hero stories, who can even relate? You know, if every chapter is like, let me tell you about my amazing, beautiful wife who writes devos for our church and led worship for 10 years. And let me tell you about my two kids. They both are employed at the church right now, and they, you know, they're discipling people, and, you know, and they're beautiful. And let me tell you about my career, pastor of the fastest growing church maybe in the history of America, and I'm sought. Okay, all of a sudden, who can even be like, oh yeah, I know how that feels? But the moment I just talk about where I struggle and stumble, listen, man, if you preach out of your weakness, you will never run out of material. Mm-hmm. And I got a lot.
Come on.
And I'm on the struggle bus all the time, every day. And so the reason that I share that stuff is just for the guys. Like, man, I don't think God can use me. And I'm like, no. Why? Because you're messed up? Me too. Mm-hmm. I get it.
It's so crazy. What I've noticed in teaching groups of women the Bible is I can say a lot of great things, and the number one thing that they will come up to me after and say that they resonated with is like the 1 or 2 lines I didn't even plan on throwing in there about my weakness.
Of course.
Like one time at one of our women's encounter a couple years ago, at the beginning of my teaching, I said, I was talking about my kids, and I just said, I didn't believe I had the mom gene forever. And then I had my kids, and I'm obsessed with them, and God restored all that, whatever. Right. I didn't even think about the fact that I said that. That was the number one thing. People came up to me, I've never heard that, and I didn't think I had the mom gene. And so you just have this realization that humans want to connect with humans in their weakness, like you're saying. Like, that is what makes people feel seen and have hope of, okay, well, they have that going on and they follow the Lord and seem pretty confident in it. Maybe I can do that.
What's interesting is Jay Owen, who we know and love, he can put like data behind this. Some of the most listened to, most requested, most download sermons that I preach are not the things I'm very good at. Like, honestly, I have the gift of evangelism. I lead people to Jesus all the time. I just do. There's a guy sitting behind me last night, man. I led him to Christ about 8 weeks ago. Baptized him at Saturated.
Wild.
Big old swole dude's a motorcycle cop. He's just lifting his brains out. And I'm like, man, what are you doing? What's wrong with you? What's going on? He's like, and I led him to Jesus. No problem. Okay. So I do sermons on evangelism, on sharing your faith. It's like, okay. A few weeks ago when I talk about anger, do you know why? Do you know how bad I suck at that? I am quick to speak. I am slow to listen. I am quick to be angry. Those are the opposite things of what the Bible says. So when I'm preaching, I'm just reading my mail. I can preach. Dude, do you know how good I can preach? Husbands, love your wife as Christ loved the church. You know how much I struggle to sacrifice me for Gretchen? Because I'm selfish, dude. I am selfish. And so I'm just reading my mail. I'm just preaching to me. And, if somebody else can benefit, great.
It's the best. Okay, so let's circle back. At the beginning, we talked about encouragement from women to the men in their life. And, so because we have a lot of female listeners, either married to men, raising boys. Yeah. What is our challenge to them? Maybe as they read this book or just after listening to this podcast, what's something they can do to encourage the men in their life?
What are some things you do? Because I honestly, I'm glad your husband sitting right there. I think you're the jam.
Thanks.
I mean, I'm serious. Like, you're like top single digit girls on the planet that I think are just the jam. Obviously my wife, obviously my daughter. And I hear you talk about your marriage. I see you crush it at work. I see you crush it with your kids. I see you stress about it too. I see it, right? So what is it? What are some things that you do to encourage him? Or is it front of mind or not really?
I think it ebbs and flows. Like, I think some seasons I'm really dialed into it. I think the biggest thing with Wes is giving him space to do the things that make him come alive that maybe I don't always understand. So, like, a round of golf takes a long time.
4.5 hours.
And
do you know how to kill it? Let me tell you how to kill it. About the 5th hole, send a text and be like, when will you be home? It's over.
No, right. Yeah.
It's not even fun anymore.
Yeah, or even like right when he's finished, when he calls, I'm not going to say the kid, and again, I don't get this right every time, but I'm not going to say the girls have been so tough. Like, I'm not going to make him feel guilty for that time away. But what I've just noticed is that our life is better when both of us have space to do the things that make us come alive outside of what we're required to do, which is work and parent. It's not that we don't love these things, but
Of course.
these are requirements in our life.
Of course.
And so, last week we had a big week with Saturated, and I was gone every night of last week. And bedtime is not easy in our house right now. These second-borns, they're 4 and 2, and these second-borns are just built different. I'm here to say.
Y'all are in parent jail.
Yeah.
It gets better. It gets way better.
And it's so fun, but there's really hard parts to it. And bedtime is one of those. So to do 7 nights in a row of bedtime is just hard. So then, he's training. I talked about the Grand Canyon, but next weekend he's doing a half Ironman for the first time. And that requires a lot of training that he had to put on hold for me to go do the thing that I think God's called me to do.
Of course.
And so this week, he's like, hey, would it be okay if I do my long bike ride? I'm going to miss dinner. I'll probably miss bedtime. There's nothing in me that's going to tell him no, even though, that's going to make my life harder that night. But just recognizing and trying to make space for him to do the things. I don't know. Maybe I'm over my skis here, but I feel like men have like stuff inside of them that like it's got to get out somehow. And I would much rather that get out like on a golf course, on a hard run than I would than anything else, I don't know if that's accurate or
I think you're dialed in. One of my favorite questions to ask dudes, especially if we're going to hire them or something, is what do you do for fun? And if they say church or their family, I'm like, you're screwed, man. You are so screwed. I love my family, and I love our church so much. I don't think I would just put that in like the fun category. You need some things that steal your mind away, because you're right. Yeah. Because especially like we're a little bit adrenaline junkies, maybe, whatever the word is. You're looking for that little zinger, And if you don't have a healthy outlet, like fitness or whatever, for me, I hunt a lot and like to work out a lot. Then what you see a lot of dudes do is they go for that zinger, and they're talking to some chick. It's not their wife, man, because it feels a thing. It makes you feel like, oh, somebody thinks I got what it takes. Or you get into like weird sports betting or something like that, or you drink too much. I mean, or I'm okay with a bourbon when all of a sudden you're like the connoisseur of all the bourbons and you're having way too many every night. These are not good things. Yeah. So here's what I think. And just as a little pastoral encouragement, I think there's you think Wes is awesome. I know that you do. And you probably just assume that he knows that you think that. And that's what happens a lot of times. And then another thing that happens in a lot of wives' lives is there can be almost this little bit of jealousy. And it'll hold back that encouragement, because you'll think, well, I don't want him to get a big head. Nowhere in the Bible can I find that it's the role of any person to keep another person humble. The only commands I see are encouragement. That humility is his posture between the Lord. And a lot of times what can happen too is wives will compare their lives to their husbands, and they get a little bit of like, well, this isn't fair. No, I'm not trying to throw you under the bus whatsoever, but you practiced soccer for 20 years and he picks it up in 1 second. And you're like, what the heck? Or, listen, you're just the mom. I'm just telling you, it ain't fair. It just requires more, right? I mean, so much more. Like, even
and yet, which you say this a lot too, being a mom requires more, and yet dad's words carry more. Make that make sense. It does, because of who God is.
It's creation order.
Yep.
I mean, even think about the creation of the baby. It's just not fair. It's all the weight is on you. I mean, he got the ball rolling, then it was all you. I mean, he's just kind of in the background cheering you on.
Yeah.
You right? Like you were literally.
But a lot of that is perspective. Like,
right?
It's an honor to.
Of course. And when you see it that way.
Yeah.
All right, but then what tilts back the other way is then the responsibility for everything in your home is his. Yep. Regardless of whose fault it is. And if God decided to walk up into your house to talk to your family about what's wrong, he's going straight to him. Eve ate the apple. God goes to Adam and goes, what are you doing? Right?
Yeah.
And then he was totally lame because he blamed her.
Well, that was the other half of what I think like I try and do. One is make space for him to do the things that make him come alive. And the other is gratitude. Like I just really try and express gratitude as much as I can because I never have to think about our finances. Like that is so freeing to me because when I was single, finances were the biggest burden in my life. And so I just try and like when he's going to laugh at this because anytime we have to have a conversation about finances, it's like, I need like 6 days heads up. Like I need a vacation day scheduled the following day. Like I really don't like having finance conversations. And so I just try and tell him, like, I just really appreciate you taking care of this. Like the fact that I don't have to think about that, like that's not lost on me. Because I think we're all starving for gratitude and that's part of the encouragement. But I think men especially, like, I don't think Wes minds bearing the responsibility of our family. Like, I actually think, he's wired for it. And I think he walks in it really well. But I also know that, like, a thank you sounds good every once in a while. Like, thanks for taking care of our family. Thank you that I don't have to call the bug person.
That's everything.
Or worry about the leaks. Like, that stuff is just like...
Honestly, most men, like semi-healthy, as long as there's not some kind of major trauma or mental health illness or something, your average dude doesn't need to see a therapist. And he feels like he's carrying the weight of the world, not for himself, but for the responsibility of the people he loves so much.
Yep.
And he just wants the people he's doing it for just to acknowledge it. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of this might just be me, but man, my love language is just gratitude at work and at home.
Yeah.
And I didn't make this up. I don't know who said this first, but I think there's something to it. I heard a female saying this to females. Inside of every man is a king and a jester. And you're just going to get who you talk to.
Yeah.
So if you talk down to him all the time and treat him like a clown, he's probably going to act like a clown. That's not, now if I was talking to him, I'd be like, suck it up, buttercup. And then the other thing, which isn't nearly as poetic, men are like puppies. They repeat what is rewarded.
Yep. And
you know him better than everybody else. And so you know what his rewards are, And so when you catch him doing the right thing and thinking the right thing and having the right attitude, if you just assume, well, that's what he ought to do, he's the husband. Well, then there's no room for like love and grace there. Mm-hmm. Then it's just duty. And you work really, really hard just to get up to, okay, congratulations. You're just doing what I expect you to do.
Yeah.
But when people do what's right, this goes both ways, and you reward that, then especially dudes, man, I mean, they're not complicated. It's like a puppy, right?
Yeah.
When he gets it right, you give him a treat. The puppy's like, ooh, I should do that more.
Yeah. And you taught us this, but it was kind of like every time he reaches out his hand and you slap his hand, then what begins to happen is he'll stop reaching out his hand. And that was more in regards to intimacy, but I've also just found that to be true in anything he's interested in. So like he'll say, I know you don't want to hear about this, but he wants to tell me about like a couple holes at golf.
Yeah.
And I'm always like, no, I want to hear about that. Like being interested in the things that he's interested in, because he's going to talk about golf somewhere.
Right.
And I would much rather he talk about it with me than anybody else. So even if golf isn't top of my mind for what I'm trying to talk about, like I want to talk about what he's excited about.
And on the intimacy thing, sometimes we are the worst at timing, right? Men. Because we probably didn't plan this thing out very well. And we reach our hand out at a terrible time. So there's a big old difference, like, is that all you ever think about? That's one of the most insulting things that a godly Christian man who loves his wife and realizes that intimacy has been given by God as a gift that I only get to express with my wife. Mm-hmm. No, that's not all I think about, but I just love you. And what do you so another response is, right now is a terrible time, but I love you. And so soon, or something better than, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
it's just those kind of interactions.
Yeah.
Sometimes Gretchen has, she just, there's a lot of people that she ministers to and walks with, and, you know, and I am sure I am just an aggravation to her. I mean, I'm 52 years old. We've been married 25 years. And I hear the shower turn on, and I'm like, somebody's naked. I mean, you know, and you think you would grow accustomed. I have not grown accustomed to that, you know. And I am sure it is like, oh, my goodness, can I just get a break? But then she will be walking with one of her friends who she finds out her husband's been cheating forever, you know. Yeah. And she'll just be like, even though sometimes it's a little much, I am so grateful that you still... It's only me, and it's always me. Yep. You know?
Well, yeah, because for us women, you got to think you want the alternative? Like, right. You know, what a gift. What a gift we prayed for, ladies, when we were single, that a man would be that obsessed with us. And then it's annoying now? Like, yeah, we cannot be doing that.
But I also think that this thing you're talking about in marriage, negotiation is a really good thing.
Yeah.
Like when you're in a good, healthy place, you know, and you can just negotiate things, and she can just be like, you know what, this time of day is better than that time of day. Or it doesn't have to be about that. It could be whatever, about finances or whatever. But you can just say, and you're not trying to, this isn't a hostage negotiation. This is not, I'm going to hold on to what I have until I have to give it up. That's not what we're talking about. But, well, Solomon talks about it in Song of Solomon. Catch for us the little foxes in our garden. When you get on the same side and be like, this garden is our marriage, and there's a fox in here trying to destroy our marriage, and it's me and you versus the fox, not me versus you. That's right. We're talking about completely different things.
Yeah, it's so good. Well, sadly, we're out of time / overtime, but this was such a fun conversation. I didn't ask any of the questions I even had planned because
people can just read the book.
Yeah, and they should read the book. Men, women. I always say this isn't just for men; it's for anyone that knows a man, which is all of us. And it really is such a good book. And not that I can be proud of you, but I am. And you just continue to pave the way of boldness and conviction for being obedient to the Lord, and for all of us that work closely with you, that just bleeds into all of our lives too, to do the thing that God's calling us to do. So thanks for being obedient to that. And I can't wait to see what God does with this book.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening. We'd love for you to join us in The Neighborhood, our Patreon community. It's a space for the good, the hard, and the hilarious. A place where real life happens. It's $5 a month or any additional amount you choose. You'll get a podcast episode once a week from Caitlin and I, plus additional videos, early access to events and merch, and more fun things we'll do along the way. So come join us by going to patreon.com/neighborspodcast and sign up. We'll see you in the neighborhood. And if you enjoy Neighbors, we'd love for you to leave us a 5-star review anywhere you listen to the podcast, or subscribe and give this video a thumbs up on YouTube. Sharing is the best way to help our conversations make it into more corners of life. To grab your favorite Neighbors merch or resources, you can head to our website, theneighborspodcast.com. Neighbors is produced by Logger Creative, audio by Taylor Minning, and music by Austin and Lindsay Adamak. See you next time.